I'm here for Groovefest TV in the lush surrounds of the Cigar Lounge with none other than House Maestro Terry Hunter.
Hey,
Hello.
hey, we are here.
We're here at Groovefest,
Yes.
a party in paradise. How does the festival vibe, and especially the kind of sun and sand festival vibe, affect the tunes that you play or the way that you play out?
For me, I'm the kind of DJ, I don't never program my sets. I get in front of the people and right there it comes to me. So, of course, when you see a bunch of half-naked bodies, people drinking, people are really into the music, it affects you in a positive way. So I like to start off with feel-good music, and then from there, I just go record for record for record for record. So it's really not a program situation, but I try to capture what I see and what I feel from the DJ before me and what I think the crowd might want to hear from me as well. So.
And it's been quite a crowd, I think,
Absolutely.
you know, at Groovefest. And I think because of the lineup, it really does attract quite an upfront crowd, but also quite a knowledgeable crowd that cares
Absolutely.
about the heritage of house music, which is quite a good thing with house kind of exploding so much over the last few years, having such a resurgence.
Right.
I don't know if sometimes maybe the heritage is like lost a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's lost, because it's the media, and I blame a lot of it from, Europe. They've separated dance music in a sense through the social media networks. It's, you have this kind of house, that kind of house, and I don't want to sound old and whatever, but when we were coming up, it was just house and techno. So either you play commercial house, whatever. We never gave it all these different genres. So then you got soulful house. I've never considered what I do soulful house. It was just my take and variation on good house music. You know what I mean? So being said, that is going on now. I'm very much known in the soulful arena of house music, and I think what Groovefest is doing is bringing all of those words together with the knowledgeable crowds from what I do, from what Sonny Fendera would do, from Cashmere on to Dennis Ferrer. So I think it's a great mix of people, and we learn off of one another. So I think it's beautiful.
It is a beautiful thing.
Yes, it is.
Let's talk a little bit about your kind of background musically, because your dad was a DJ,
Absolutely.
I believe.
Yes.
At the Family Lounge, spilling
Yes.
soul and disco.
You did your homework. Yes.
How did that, I suppose it put you at a bit of an advantage maybe early on.
Great
but
advantage.
How else did that kind of affect how you pursued music?
Well, of course, you are a sponge from what you see and hear from a kid. And as a kid, during the day when I went to the lounge with my father, it was really my grandfather, but my grandparents raised me, so I called him my dad. But just hearing all of that funk soul music in the house every day, it was crazy. So I have a cousin that I was named after, and he's older than me, so he was going out partying. And I remember one day he had to babysit me. And in Chicago, there's an area on the lake called Lakeshore Drive, and it's on the north side of Chicago. So Frankie Knuckles was doing an event there. At that time, I didn't know who Frankie Knuckles was. So my cousin was like, yeah, we got to go to this party. It's on the beach, Belmont Beach. It's incredible. And he took me, and I'm sitting there. I'm like 8 or 9, and my mind is blown how they're praising this one guy that's DJing. From screaming his name to just people are going nuts, from gay, straight, black, white, Latino. It blew my mind. And so I'm like, these are all the records that I hear in my house. But how is he making all of these records sound like one record? So from there, I was like, oh, I got this record. I got this record. Oh, I got this record. So a couple of years later, I was like, I think I want to become a DJ. And I will never forget, my grandmother was like, what do you want for your birthday? Like a mixer. Now realizing I needed turntables to hook up to this mixer. So that's a whole nother story, but that's kind of my early beginnings on me getting into the music, hearing Frankie live at a party on the beach in Chicago, 1980, 80 or 81 maybe.
I have to say, I kind of envy everyone growing up in that melee.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the Hot Mix 5, the warehouse tapes. It must have been
Absolutely.
such an exciting time.
It was a great time, and the crazy part, if you're from Chicago, of course, as we kids, we hearing that, we don't know anything else, so we took it for granted. Like, we didn't think that This was something that it was out of the norm. It was just Chicago. This is house music. Is who we are. Is we birthed the genre. Is what we do. And then later, when we saw the effects that it was taking on around the world and other places, then we started to say, "Oh, we got something here." But then, as that happened, we started losing the grip from it as well. So it was a gift and a curse. You know what I mean?
When you kind of came up in the 90s, like the house was established, it was an international type of music already.
Absolutely. A lot of the DJs were going to London and going to different places, Paris, and I'm like, I want to do that. And of course, I was like, well, what do you got to do to get known in Europe? Well, you got to make records. You got to make a track. So I said, all right, I need to learn how to make a track, and made my first track in 1990 entitled Madness, and that's what got me to Europe.
But I heard as well that the way that the way your track first came up, the way Madness first came up, was mostly you had the advantage of being a DJ. You could play it out, you could get people excited.
Absolutely. And so that was the thing. At those times, we were doing parties, and literally house parties in people's basement, and we would play cassette tapes with pitch controls and reel-to-reels, and we would play those records and we'll break them before it was even out. So people knew what the records was in Chicago before it came out. So that was kind of the advantage that we've had on making those records.
And then it's kind of from those basement parties all the way up to doing remixes for the likes of Michael Jackson and Mary J. Blige.
Yes.
I mean, how does that kind of, I don't know, almost like that world compare between the most overground possible to the underground?
At that time, I was working with Maurice Joshua, and Maurice was getting a lot of remixes in, and we were kind of like the up-and-coming guys. See, I was a big DJ, but I was kind of the up-and-coming guy on the production level. And so he was getting those remixes in and was kind of managing my career at the time, him and Georgie Porgy, and they would say, all right, well, pay your dues, do a remix for this record. And a lot of big records came out of me doing those remixes, and I was doing that stuff for free until people started taking notice that, yo, who is this Terry Hunter guy, and what is this he's doing? So like my first big break was probably a Jean A record that was made in '93, and the Michael Jackson record, of course, we got paid for that, but it was records that was before the hit that we did for free. I wanted my name on the record so people can know me. And that was kind of like me paying my dues coming into the game with doing those records.
Talking about paying their dues, I mean, do you think it's kind of harder with the saturation of dance music for people to really come up?
Yes, it's very hard. It's too much music out there. That's one of the problems for me. It's a lot of garbage out there. You have to shift through a lot of stuff. There's only really 2 sites that you can go through, 3 maybe, that you can find quality music, Traxsource, Beatport, iTunes, Amazon or whatever. But it's just everybody now, because of the technology, is like, I got a laptop, I'm gonna make a record, and then I'm a label, and I'm gonna put it out. So I think that saturates the game a whole lot.
Talking about your label, talking about T's Box.
Yes.
What first inspired you to start it?
At that time, I was working for other people and doing records for their labels, and I simply got tired of doing records for them. And I said, I want to start a label that I would put in my boxes at the time, because we were still carrying records, hence T's Box, Terry's. So I wanted to make the kind of records that I would play and put in my box. And I did that, started it with my own production, got the label off his feet, started running and doing a whole bunch of stuff, and now we're here.
What's going on with the label at the moment?
Still going good, putting out records all the time. I just had a successful record with the artist out of Chicago, Shantae Savage, a record called Summer. Shantae was a big artist. She started off in house music. She did a lot of R&B. She had a big single that was multi-platinum, I Will Survive, that she remade in the 90s. And so we're back doing things again. And I'm putting out an EP soon, so the label's going great.
And tell me about your very close call with the Grammy.
The close call with the Grammy. Did a record with Jennifer Hudson. Written by R. Kelly, produced by myself, a soulful house record. Did really good, came on RCA Records, and the record got nominated. And that was good for the soulful house genre, if you will, because in America they wasn't playing that style of music on the radio. And we got nominated for a Grammy, but we lost to Queen Bee, Beyonce. So, but hey, we're nominated. I can put that on my name now. Grammy-nominated DJ producer. So, hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
And if you've got to lose to anyone, Beyonce.
That's
mean,
it.
Come on.
If you're going to lose to somebody, it's her. But now she needs to sit down. She got too many dang on Grammys. Give them to somebody else. Give somebody some room.
Just quickly talking again about the remix thing. I mean, I think a lot of those, especially 90s remixes and all through the early 2000s that had like a house slant, is probably one of the big things that we have to thank for the resurgence
Yes.
in house,
Yes.
especially in America, where maybe
Yes.
dance music has always been a harder sell.
Yes. It's funny. Someone said to me today, being here, and that's not really jumping off the question, but it's, they said, oh, the kids like this and this and this and that and this and this and this and that. And so for me, I think there's only two kinds of music. It's good music and it's bad music. So if I feel I do good music, I think those kids that like good music will find what Terry Hunter's doing. And I've been able to sustain this long with doing good music. So I'm not going to stop now. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where, you know, it's a touchy subject with me when it comes to that, because, you know, you got somebody saying this flavor is in, then tomorrow something else is in, and then tomorrow something else is in. And I'm like, I need to do me. And still stay with the times, of course.
But like the kids don't know what they want until you give it to them. You know what I mean?
And that's my thing. And that's the kids who are liking the DJs who they like. You can see that their palates are getting a little bit different. They're changing. They're like, wait a minute, this exists. Well, what about this? So that's the part that I like. I want to be on that edge when they palates are changing. And they're like, he's our hero. Yes, I am.
So what have you got to look forward from you for in the next year or so?
A lot of good music, a lot of good tours, more festivals, maybe a Grammy, maybe an island that I'll throw my own events on. The sky's the limit. We're just going to reach until we can't reach no more, you know?
Can't wait to see it.
Can't
Thank
wait.
you so much, Terry.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Groovefest.